the relationship ends, there's a disconnection. There can be really strong feelings of panic, devastation, shock, bewilderment. It can put us into a helpless, hopeless kind of soup that just is unnervingly distressing. Everything can go out the window here. We might stop doing our personal hygiene, we might stop eating, we might overeat, we might overdrink, we might underdo everything. But we're in this really, really agonizingly painful space where the very human we are attached to has disconnected from us in no uncertain terms. Once we can move through that stage, and that stage can last for quite a while. For some people it's weeks, for some people it's months. The next part is the longing for the other person, the craving to connect and to get soothing from them. If they just talk to me, if we could just have a conversation, I wish they'd just answer my messages, I wish they would just answer my emails. That desperate longing to just connect and talk, because if you could have that, you believe you will have a sense of soothing that will help you to feel better. Once we move through the longing, which can be interchanged between the other two, heartache can come to town, and it's that really stressed out of sort, separation anxiety kind of preoccupation that just aches to our bones. You know, that weary to my bone, I'm so weary I could sleep all day but I can't sleep. That separation anxiety that you just want to have them close by. So the heartache and that stressed out feeling can be really challenging. It can disrupt the way you connect with your children, with your parents, your friends, your family, and the way you connect with yourself. It's a really tough, painful space. Oftentimes we neglect ourselves during this time, and we neglect other people and other things too. Once we've come through this, we can start to move into a space of self-blame. It's my fault. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't smart enough. I didn't do enough. And so we move into this self-blaming space. You know, it's me. It's not you. It's me. What could I have done differently? Then we get into the itchy scratchy of the cycle, which is that relentlessness of it, where we're restless all the time. Our frustration tolerance is incredibly low. We are bitey and cranky and difficult to be around. It's just a really challenging space and time. Once we move through that, we could hit revenge and retaliation, and that could be activated in us like an absolute pressure cooker ready to explode. How dare they? How dare they? That indignant, angry, frustrated anger as we start to notice that maybe this relationship is over, maybe it wasn't our fault, and we get mad. Now, as I said before, this process is just that. It's a process. We don't kind of go do 1, 2, 3, 4. We can go in and out at different times of the day, in an hour, in the space of minutes, and come back to them over and over again. So just be mindful of that. As we move through the end of this process, which can often take 3 to 6 months before you get the easing, and that sense of, I can wake up and not feel like my skin is raw. I can sleep through the night and not wake up panicked. There's an easing coming, and finally we start to be able to have a little bit of peace sometimes. It might be fleeting peace, but it comes, and we have moments where we can just breathe a little bit easier. It's like grief in so many ways, as I said. It's not just a straight line. It's forwards and backwards. It's lapping in and over and on itself. You know what I mean? These feelings can come up quick, painfully, quite acutely, and then subside. And we have to be really patient with ourselves when that happens. The fallout from abandonment has quite a number of different elements to it. It can mean that once we have been abandoned, we can attach to other people quite quickly. We can attach to unavailable people, unavailable partners or relationships. The fallout can mean that we fail to fully commit in relationships, or we have very few long-term relationships. It can mean that we move on quickly just to ensure that we don't get too attached to people. We might decide that in the fallout of abandonment, we need to please the other person and we need to make sure they're happy all the time. We might engage in unwanted sex. This is actually quite common in women, that wanting to give themselves sexually to somebody, believing that maybe that would help them to have a quicker attachment. Some people just struggle with being really hard to please, being nitpicky and setting the standards so high that nobody's ever going to meet them. Some people after an abandonment have difficulty experiencing emotional intimacy, and so they keep people at quite an emotional distance. There might be strong feelings of insecurity and unworthiness, and finding it really difficult to trust people. You know, often I hear women say, I just don't know if I will ever trust anybody ever again. In relationship following an abandonment, we can get into a place where we get jealous of a new partner talking to anybody, doing anything, because we come from a space of fear about being abandoned again. There can be really strong feelings of separation anxiety from a new partner. We might overthink things. We might really work hard to try and figure out what's the hidden meaning in this. I wonder what that really means. I wonder what that really means. Trying to protect ourselves from being abandoned again. We might have a hypersensitivity to criticism and really be on high alert, especially if that was part of the last abandonment. And of course, we might really drop into the space of self-blame. So when we have come through an abandonment, most of those things can show up for all of us. It will depend on your attachment style, of your preferred way of dealing with it, and of course how your abandonment happened and with whom. How long were you with them for? What happened at that time when they left. So be mindful of that, but just listen to some of the suggestions I had in there of ways that once the abandonment has happened, you tune into new relationships.